there, I'm Jules. Nice to see you. The word of the day today is excite. Like how I feel when I make these videos. If you'd like to know why excite is the word of the day, watch my next video and then read the description to find out. Hi babes, today we're playing the 7 Districts of Sin, The Tail Makes the Fox. Again. So, previously, we were just going into a room, the dining room. And right now, our hearts are 2.5 Anzu, 2 Kali, 1.5 Celios, and 1 Gaki. I want Celios to have the most hearts. Just saying. All of the tranquility is brought to an abrupt end when the door suddenly swings open. In strides Anzu with Gaki close behind.
My governess!
The small girl exclaims, standing up from her seat. But the governess's cold stare saps all the girl's surprise and delight out, causing her to crumple back down onto her seat.
Every time I came in one mouth, boom! Another would spring up and start sucking a different part of me. I thought it would never end.
Oh my god.
Who would have thought a Hydra would make such a good bedfellow? But that's just like the madam, always going the extra mile to bring new pets to her house. She said the Hydra was more for her female patrons, but I still found good uses for all those heads. Ah, speaking of the madam, she said you haven't... Oh, it's you!
Much to Anzu's relief, the fox boy's attention is suddenly diverted towards a table of delicious beings and Celios.
What are the chances of meeting you here?
Pretty high, considering that she is staying... Master Gaki, what are you doing?
Gaki forces a cushion between Celios and Jules, sitting himself awkwardly upon it. There's clearly not enough space, as half of the cushion rests on the vampire's lap before he's forced to stand up, glaring down at the intruder.
Fix me a plate, would ya?
The kitsune bats a hand at Celios, shooing him away from his side.
This is hardly acceptable behavior, Master Gaki.
Gaki scooches close enough to Jules that one wrong move of her fork could end up stabbing him in the eye, a thought that does occur to her for a moment.
Oh, how I've missed you. Did you miss me too?
What is that gunshot noise? The girl is saved from having to answer that when Celios stomps his foot, gaining the fox boy's attention.
That is my seat.
And now it is mine. Shoo, fly.
Don't say that to him.
Why? What is he going to do? Anzu is too busy with her pet, and I'm too invested in mine. Fifth wheels like Celios should just roll into ditches and die.
The boy laughs while feeding himself from the girl's plate. Hey, get your own.
Why? You're the only morsel I need.
Master Gaki, that is...
Celios begins to speak, but knows that there's nothing he can do without Governess Anzu's input. The pale man looks to her, but she simply isn't looking his way. Instead, she's instructing Kali on what to put on her plate, though Kali looks all too happy to oblige. The two women converse while Kali fills Anzu's plate with lobster tails, fish eggs, several strawberries, nectarines, mango slices, kumquats, and whatever the hell else pleases the governess' eyes in the moment. Kali's hand shakes under the weight of all the food, but Anzu continues to instruct her.
My lady?
The woman smirks, twisting Kali's silver strands of hair around her finger until the bridge stretches tautly between them. All of Anzu's attention remains on her meal, and Celios finally gives up.
Very well.
The vampire bites his tongue, taking his plate and cushion to sit beside Kali. With a grimace, the girl scoots away from him and closer to Anzu. The uncomfortable atmosphere at the table continues until the silver-haired girl finally places the governess's plate in front of her. Only now is anyone else at the table worthy of her attention.
How has your work been, Fox? Are you almost finished?
It's coming along steadily. I should be finishing my assignment on schedule.
Oh, I'm quite sad to hear that.
As am I.
And me too.
Kali doesn't share the sentiment, but she does look at Jules for a moment, her expression a little hard to read. At the least, she isn't glaring at Jules anymore.
She has been working extra hard, even though I haven't read her report. She seems to be a very...
I know that. Naturally, as a kitsune, she exceeds all expectations. There is no species more suited to poking their noses in other people's business than the fox demons.
Would you please let me finish?
What you have to say is irrelevant. You don't share the same intimate bond that we do. Our deep ancestral roots are tied deep within our souls and connect us on a level that scroungy vagabonds like yourself could never understand.
Rude.
All that remains now is to let our connection manifest physically.
Master Gaki, I believe that your delusions have gone far enough.
Delusions? What the hell is he talking about?
He's trying to say that I don't... Gaki doesn't let Jules finish before he's back on Celios' case.
Do not soil my passions with your words, or else I'll soil the floor with your guts!
Your threats do not scare me, Master Gaki, second son of the Gakillian family.
I'll gut you!
The fox boy leans over the table to strangle the vampire when suddenly Governess Anzu rises from her seat. The two men stop mid-squabble.
I'm bored of this. I will be resting in my room. Do not disturb me.
The governess walks away from all four of them. They stare on at the melancholy woman as she drags her feet and leaves the room.
This is all your fault!
Kali stands, ready to run after her governess, but is held back by Celios.
Please, Callie, do not do anything that may go against Governess Anzu's wishes.
The girl tears her hand out of the pale man's grasp and stares down at him.
You were no better than that pervert was, fawning over that fox girl as if our governess wasn't sitting right there.
Fawning? I certainly was not.
So Anzu wasn't the center of attention. Big whoop.
You shouldn't even be here in the first place. Leave immediately. And you, hurry up and finish your task. Your presence here has done nothing but upset our delicate balance of life.
Fine. The sooner I'm out of this nut house, the better. Jules stands. Although both of the men start to protest and attempt to smooth things over, she leaves the room as quickly as she can, not wanting anything more to do with any of them. The frustration spurs the auditor on. Quickly enough, night comes. She looks down at her report and starts to feel a moment of relief. Soon, this will all be over. However, for some reason, the thought is leaving a bitter taste in the girl's mouth. There's still something missing here. For the good of everything, what more is there that she can do besides hope that she has is enough? Hope that what she has is enough. Except, there is something more that she can do. The files she retrieved from Anzu's office earlier really have been useless. Several of them are almost insulting with how obvious it is that whatever these files had once contained is no longer there. It's time for Jules to do some snooping of her own, without the governess's help. She finally has a way to access the main office, and by the governess's mood at dinner, the auditor doubts that she will be in there this evening. It's now or never. It's by some stroke of luck that the doors remained open. Thanks to that, the Gumiho is able to slip into the office without a hitch. The room is dark, but she doesn't dare turn on the lights, in case someone is watching the place. The lights are literally on, though. Watching the office sounds just like the sort of thing Kali would do. Although Jules is starting to accept even the silver-haired girl's worst attitude, it's hard to swallow just how much Kali seems to dislike her for no reason that she can think of. The reason is clear to everyone but the fox herself, of course. Kali did shout at the Gumiho at dinner, but she's starting to realize that the anger wasn't completely directed at herself. 85% of it maybe, but at least not the entirety. Forget about her and focus. Jules has a job to do, of course. Getting involved in the private lives of these people is only going to end terribly. There's just too much stuff to get through, and getting through a lot of shit is exactly what the auditor is about to do. She pulls all the files she can reach from the shelves, hoping none of them have been tampered with. But there are just too many to look through. The longer she spends inside the room, the more likely she is to... A crash comes from outside the window, and all the files drop to the floor, the contents scattering at her feet. She walks out of the room, only to find that there's nothing in particular wrong. Just a stray or something, I guess. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to be worried about at all. The noise still has Jules spooked, though. She quickens her search, gathering all the files she dropped before checking the desk for anything that might prove useful. Whatever Anzu's working on must be important. Taking the files from Anzu's desk might seem like a bigger risk than Jules should take, but when the success of her whole task is on the line, risks have to be taken. The Gumiho quickly rearranges the file on the desk to make it look as if nothing's missing. Then, as quick as a fox in the night, she quickly makes her getaway. I can't believe I did that. I need to hide these before someone sees. She looks around the room before sliding the files into her pillowcase. If anyone looks here, I'll know. Feeling like she's finally one-upped the Queen of Tricks, Jules gives herself a literal pat on the back before running off to finish the rest of her work. After getting a little more work done, the girl returns to her bedroom. Today turned out better than I expected. As much as that is true, there's something about the day that doesn't make it feel like everything is such a rousing bundle of success. She can't remember the last time she felt so lost, if ever. It isn't as simple as homesickness. She could have fought that off easily, knowing how impressed Lucy's going to be by her work cures any sickness. This is a much older feeling, one she's pushed down, but, like bile, is starting to re-emerge against her will and turn her stomach. It's probably just from something I ate. Jules decides to call it a night and snuggles up into bed. As much as she wants to believe it's just a case of food poisoning, which shows just how much she wants to repress the real issues, because of food poisoning, as many know, isn't fun, the last words that come to her mind before trailing off to sleep curse her to face the facts. The feeling is more than just bad seafood. My Gumiho. I'm gonna be a Gumiho, Mama.
What's so special about Gumiho, sweetheart?
Oh, Gumihos. Everyone treats them better.
That's just a sign of respect, though, dear.
And everyone treats me like an idiot.
Then they're the real idiots. You're the most cunning fox I know.
I know. That's how I know I'm a Gumiho.
You'll need 9 tails if you're gonna be a Gumiho, kiddo.
But I only have 2.
Well, Mama has 3, and I have 4, so...
Papa lifted the small girl up onto his shoulders. She kicked and fussed and clamped her eyes shut. That wasn't what she meant by wanting to become a Gumiho. She didn't want to fly. Papa, stop squishing me! Ah, put me down! It's too high! Jules' papa sat her onto his shoulder and pulled Mama closer to his side.
Look, honey.
The girl slowly opened her eyes and she stared down at the reflection in the water. Her eyes became wide with joy. 9 tails wagged behind them. The young girl's whole heart leapt. We're a Gumiho, Papa. We're a Gumiho.
As long as we're together, we are.
And we always will be.
Kali, age 380, occupation secretary. Young demon who's deeply in love with the governess of Kumanoito. What sort of demon is Kali? Guess we won't know. Procrastination is a beautiful thing. It urges people to do many useful but irrelevant things at ill-chosen times. Jules is currently experiencing this supercharged but misguided sense of productivity and has spent all morning rearranging the files back into their proper order. But like every other superpower, her charge of usefulness is waning. When it's all gone, it will surely leave the girl in a dark place of melancholy and self-doubt. I can't believe I'll be leaving soon. Though relieved, Jules hadn't expected it to be so bittersweet. Thoughts of why she feels this way fester in her head. Her pigtails whip around, gradually becoming faster and stronger as she tries to literally shake off the thoughts. Pigtails? I don't see pigtails. It's no use. They just won't go away. Disappointed by this revelation, the fox decides to talk all her worries away, which is yet another reason why espionage may not be the best career for her. Your loyalty lies with Lord Lucifer. You can't ever forget that. She smacks her cheeks hard 3 times, and like a magic spell, all of her worries disappear. Oh, so I just have to smack the bad thoughts away. But then they come back with pitchforks and sulfur. Ugh, why do I feel so awful? The Gumiho slumps forward. Her head hits the desk quite hard, acting as her last defense against everything she's trying so hard to not think about. Alas, the plan fails as easily as all of her other harebrained schemes. And why can't I stop thinking about... My mind is all jumbled. Who was I just thinking about? Looking at the files once more, Jules tries to think of a way to stay at the palace a little longer. Even just a day or 2 more will suffice. In her mind, she weaves some tale about losing a file, and another about sleep eating her report, and... I'll do anything, as long as it works. She knows there's more work left to do, more than just dotting I's and crossing T's. Real work. Something that is more important to her than simply being a good little worker for the main hell government, because I'm not ready to leave yet. With that resolve fresh in her mind, Jules gets back to work, committing herself to it and hoping to keep her melancholy at bay. This is the wrong district to have those kinds of thoughts in, after all. That's that, then. She relines all of her papers into one neat pile and looks triumphantly at the finished work. It's all there and ready to hand in. Almost, anyway. The girl recalls Stelios mentioning that Anzu is usually busy in her office for a few hours a night, and there's still one place left for Jules to visit before her job is finished, namely the governess's bedroom. There won't be much of a chance for me to sneak in, and it may be a bigger risk than she needs to take. But there might be something in there that could turn this whole thing around and really make it into something that Lord Lucifer won't be able to ignore. And by association, Jules will no longer be a thing her lord can ignore. It's a win-win situation with 0 risks. If you don't include the constant death threats from Anzu and Jules' idiotic plan to walk straight into the lion's den to look for evidence that may not even be there, that is. But hey, what does she have to lose? Still on the fence about leaving, the auditor decides that now is a good time to take a break. But she needs more than just fresh air and to stretch her legs. She needs that one bit of proof that her melancholy isn't simply the product of romanticized delusions. What? No, I'm just trying to take a break like a normal person. Jules is certain that a break will heal her body of all that ails it, including a sorrow-filled heart. Seeing another face will surely help her rest her worries. Anyone except Anzu, of course, lest the governess smell the deceit on her and grow suspicious. Go see Stelios! Easy decision. The door swings open, slamming right into the wall. The whole room's worth of shelves rock and shake at the entrance of Hell's one and only twin-tailed Gumiho.
Miss Gumiho?
How'd you know? The girl glows, happy that by some instinct, Stelios knows it's her.
because you're the only one who is so careless about her surroundings.
Although it's usually Celios' sense of smell that notifies him of Jules' arrival, today it's his sense of trouble.
It was just a wild guess.
You're really clever, aren't you?
Forgive me for being skeptical, but is there a reason for all this flattery?
Nope, I don't have an agenda. Not today, at least.
That's concerning.
You should just accept the compliment. It's rude to question someone when they've complimented you.
I know. I'm sorry. And thank you.
You're welcome. Celios turns back to his work, expecting Jules to get on with whatever she came here to do. The girl, however, doesn't move, instead lurking around the vampire's desk and humming tunelessly to herself. It's a combination of her pitchy humming and lingering scent that makes Celios put down his pen and turn right around on his chair to stare at her.
Miss?
Yes?
Forgive me for questioning your intentions, but are you trying to exact revenge on me?
For what?
It's my understanding that you sometimes find my presence to be rather irritating. If this is your way of trying to get even with me, then there's no need. I've learned my lesson, and
Irritating? I don't find you irritating, Celios.
You don't often hide your emotions very well. So again, I am sorry. I don't mean to call you a liar, but it's rather hard to believe that.
Oh, so that's how I make you feel. Jules' chipper expression becomes somber. Her tail's lowered to between her legs as she gives Celios an honest, hurt expression that only proves his point on how bad the girl is at masking her emotions.
I didn't mean to make you feel bad. Perhaps I'm just in a bit of a mood. There's been a lot of work to handle lately, and I've been rather agitated by Governess Anzu's sudden demands.
What kind of demands? Can I...
My apologies. It is none of your concern. I shouldn't have even mentioned it. I just didn't want you to think it was your fault. I'm just feeling a little fatigued these days, that's all.
Celios rubs his eyes, pinching down on the bridge of his nose as he tries desperately to ease his mind. Sleep is for the living, but even the dead need a few moments to rest their eyes and think of nothing in particular, especially after all that the vampire went through the night before. But he can't relax yet, not until all the souls have been catalogued away, sent to the head office for approval, and then manually re-entered into their own catalogs. Wow, that sounds rough. The girl ducks her head down to look at the man's tired expression closely, the swish of her hair carrying her scent with it. Celios' head suddenly throbs all the more as a gnawing begins bothering his gut.
When was the last time I ate?
Are you okay? You're looking a little paler than usual. Jules leans in closer until she's right under his nose. Unable to withstand the increasing pain in his head, the vampire quickly backs away, crashing into his desk and knocking over an ink pot. Black liquid spills all over his work and seeps through all of the folders on the desk, ever spreading.
No! No! No, 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 no!
He tries to mop it up with a tissue, but it all bleeds through the thin fibers and onto his hands. The more he tries to control the mess, the more frustrating the whole situation becomes. Let me help.
Ah!
Celios turns on her, his bloodshot eyes burning deep into her skull.
Do you see what you've done?
He spits, anger and hate embedded deep in the venom of his voice. But I didn't do anything. It was all you. For a moment, he says nothing. As the truth of the girl's words seep in, the man turns back into the kind vampire she's come to know. But she can't simply unsee what just happened, even though she very much wants to.
Milady, I am so sorry.
Milady. Sorry for what? You didn't do anything wrong. She says quickly, trying to ignore the reality of things. She's seen something she doesn't want to remember. And instead, she wants to recall how kind the man always is. But this blemish is inevitably going to be one of her last impressions of him. It was my fault. I distracted you, and I'm...
Don't cry.
Cry? Who's crying? Jules laughs, scrubbing her eyes as she feels the tears well up in her eyes. She isn't crying because she's scared, though. She just hates herself for coming here and seeing Celios like this. Worst of all, she hates that she suddenly feels her nerves creeping up and trying to ruin everything. The auditor turns to leave, but in her haste, she crashes into one of the bookcases. The whole thing sways back and forth, knocking several books to the ground. Seconds later, several large folders come showering down over her head.
Move out of the way! Quickly!
Oh. Romantic. As if in slow motion, animal skulls, pieces of broken pottery, and bones start to fall out of a box. Celios pushes Jules against the wall, shielding her from the falling artifacts. The man's body jerks about as the objects all hit him on the back. A small, almost soundless cry escapes his mouth when a skull smashes to pieces on his shoulder. Celios winces, but the pain vanishes when he notices Jules' dewy eyes staring back at him.
Are you okay?
She nods, but neither of them move. The vampire's eyes shut, and he lowers his head onto the girl's shoulder. The tension from his irritation melts away with each inhaled breath that's saturated by Jules' scent.
Can I stay like this for a moment?
The blonde nods, but is unsure whether he feels it or even understands the answer. Besides the sound of his breathing, Celios goes quiet. She starts to suspect that he's sleeping, but then his head turns and his strange two-toned eyes peer at her.
Thank you.
She doesn't know what she did to deserve his thanks, but nods back at him. Jules finds it difficult to tear her eyes away from Celios's, to find the nerve to say what is way too obvious to herself, but apparently not to him, until the blush comes onto her face and spreads to the man's when he notices.
Pardon my... I didn't realize until... I'll just shut up now.
Celios tries to pull away, but is pulled back by his entangled horn. His forehead smashes into Jules, and he starts apologizing profusely, trying to futilely pull away, only getting even more agitated by the closeness. Wait, I think my ribbon is...
It's caught on your ribbon.
I was halfway through saying that.
I'll...
He pulls on the ribbon, grabbing a clump of long blonde hair along with it. Ouch! Don't pull on my hair.
Oh, my apologies. Maybe I should...
No, just leave it alone. I'll undo it myself. Celios stops moving and stands awkwardly close to the girl as she untangles her ribbon from around his horn. Neither of them try to hide their sighs of relief as they break apart, and then, looking at each other, their obviously relieved expressions. They both smile.
So, what is it that you came here for?
To see if you needed help with your work. The pale man starts to chuckle. It slowly becomes a full-bellied laugh as he realizes the irony of the situation. Hey, why are you laughing? Jules stands on her tiptoes and puffs out her chest, glaring down at Celios, not finding the irony very funny. Irony is just one of those types of jokes the foxes don't like very much, especially since they're often the cause of said ironic situations.
Nothing. Just that you've probably failed miserably at your task.
The vampire continues to laugh. Slowly, the laughter dies down and his head feels strangely lighter, less burdened by the thought of work.
Perhaps I should take that back.
And he would, if it wasn't for how cute Jules' disappointed face looked. He just doesn't have the heart to ruin it yet.
Thank you.
For making your job 10 times harder?
For making me laugh a little.
It's hard to be happy about that.
Why? I thought it was a very good thing.
Not when you're laughing at me.
Ah, I suppose you're right. I'm sorry.
How sorry?
Really and truly sorry.
Celios touches the girl's hand. Too shocked to speak, but somehow not shocked enough to pull away, she stares at the man. It's enough to make a girl... hungry. The sound of her stomach tickles the pale man's warped sense of humor, and the whole room fills with the sound of his laughter once more.
Perhaps we should make our way to supper.
Alright. Jules hangs her head in shame. She wants supper, true, but what she wants even more has just been ruined by her damn stomach. It's something that she may never get another opportunity to do when she leaves. And now there's a competition for which of Jules... No. Oh. I was like, no. There's a competition for which of Jules' holes is the biggest, the one in her heart or her stomach. It's not where I thought we were going with that. The girl hasn't eaten all day, and yet the clear winner is her heart. Congratulations to those who guessed correctly. To those of you who guessed it was one of her other holes, please bleach your filthy minds. Over the last 3 nights, Jules has eaten more food than she would usually consume in a month. As much as she wants to carry on feasting on the decadent spread, knowing that such luxuries are out of reach are on her own salary, she just can't find her appetite, which doesn't go unnoticed by Celios, who's sitting beside her.
Perhaps something lighter would suit you better. Today's salad has a kumquat vinaigrette. It's very good. Wouldn't you agree, Callie?
It's not as good as yesterday's.
You're not helping.
She's not eating.
That does seem to be the case.
Perhaps she's dying.
One should not speak when they have nothing of value to say.
Perhaps our guest needs to...
I'm fine, Jules says curtly, cutting them all off. She looks down at her plate. As much as she wants to eat and put all of their minds at ease, she simply can't find the strength to do it. The moment she finishes this plate will be the moment she's finished here. Although it's a tad I know this word. Hyperbolic? Yeah. It's hard to think rationally when your heart weighs more than your mind.
Are you mayhap anxious about the fact that you'll be leaving us soon?
Jules feels embarrassed to admit it, especially to Anzu. She really shouldn't feel this sad about leaving, but she just is. My work will be done soon.
And then?
I'll be returning to the main held government to hand in my report. I promise not to linger longer than I must.
Why is that? Please, don't feel like you have to leave so promptly. I'm sure we'll all be sad to see you go, and it would be nice if we could give you a proper farewell. Don't you agree, Governess?
Of course I don't.
You can't actually mean that.
Why not? The only thing that's disappointing me is that her departure isn't sooner.
That tracks. Anzu's gleaming eyes slide over to Kali, waiting for the girl to chip in like she usually does. It doesn't come, however, so Anzu goads the girl for a better reaction.
And Carly feels the same way, I am sure.
What the silver-haired girl doesn't realize is that her pathetic expression is visible for all to see. The way she's looking at Jules causes the governess's teasing grin to strain under the weight of her repressed irritation.
Or am I perhaps mistaken, pet?
The silver-haired girl lowers her head and tries to hide from Anzu's stare, but the woman's expression doesn't change.
Don't try to hide it any longer. You've already been caught. You should at least have the decency to stand by your lack of indifference.
But the girl doesn't try to deny it, instead choosing to remain quiet.
Aren't you going to try to at least defend your infidelity, Carly?
I have nothing to say, my governess.
Really? Nothing? Nothing at all? My, aren't you just the coldest little pet?
I didn't mean to come off as such, milady.
I'll miss you too, Kali. Kali's head rises from her plate. The girl wants to smile and cry and say it back to Jules, but the words are stuck in her throat and held back by the pitiful look of understanding the Gumaho is giving her. The girl's face reddens under all her pent-up emotions, and with the slightest of nods, she hides her face and falls mute, smiling to herself. Out of the corner of her eyes, Jules catches a strange look on Stelios' face. Though he was the first to speak initially, he suddenly seems a lot less festive. Are you alright?
Yes, of course. I was just thinking about how happy you must be to finally go home. And that, perhaps, you wish the time would come quicker. If it were sooner, you'd still have your appetite, and wouldn't feel burdened by all these goodbyes. Though, I am glad to have met you. I only wish I'd been able to make your stay here easier.
You did. You're always so considerate, Stelios.
I would say it's in my nature, but if I lived up to that, I'd probably have sucked all the blood out of your veins by now. I meant that as a joke, of course. Vampires have better self-control than they're given credit for, and I've gone and talked myself into a hole again, haven't I?
Only a little one. But Jules will miss Stelios' bumbling attempts at being the best host he can. Even if he does, on occasion, slip up, he has been the biggest asset to Jules, and she's grateful he's around. Don't worry, Stelios. I understand. I'm glad you're so easy to talk to.
And I'm glad you're able to return home, where you might feel more comfortable.
And I, too, am so very happy as well. I know how you pine for your old home, and believe me, I pine just as much for mine. You know, as it was before you came and upchucked my entire palace for your report. I can already feel things returning to how they used to be, like they will always be, no matter what.
I'm sorry my presence has been such a burden to you all.
Perhaps not all of us. You seem to have made quite the impression on my subordinates. But, like children, they do not realize what is best for them. I'm sure you shall be missed for the better part of a day before you are forgotten.
Why do you have to be so cruel? Jules hangs her head, trying to hide her dampening eyes from Anzu's probing stare. She knows this is what the woman wants. It's the woman's last attack before she leaves. It's a fitting farewell, coming from Anzu.
Don't misunderstand, girl. I had certainly not intended to sound so harsh.
Which is as close to an admittance that the governess might remember Jules for more than the better part of a day as it'll get. With the grand woman's final words, dinner concludes in a strange silence. And so this is how Jules' last dinner in Kumanoito Palace goes. Jules spends more of her time thinking over what she's about to do than actually working. She watches the clock, just waiting for the moment she will come to some absolute decision. Will she really be foolish enough to do it? Or perhaps will she realize how futile her plan is? That will not happen though, of course, and so Jules waits for the right time to leave her office and sneak into Anzu's room. That time comes and passes. I shouldn't go. I've completely missed my opportunity. It'd be really stupid to go right now. Jules looks back at the clock. For a whole minute, she feels confident that staying right there is the right decision. Then she looks at her report. There's nothing in it that incriminates Anzu or that'll be of any use to Lucifer, the latter being the biggest problem. If there's nothing useful in her report, she will only prove how useless she is by extension. Jules makes a decision and leaves her office. She's going to put an end to Anzu's schemes once and for all, if it's the last thing she does. For her sake, let's hope it isn't. Once again, the Gumaho encounters a common problem for people who wish to access a place they shouldn't have access to. A door. Hell is full of doors, because they are, by far, the most evil device known to man. A cruel temptress with endless secrets, and simply opening one could lead to an array of possibilities, like an all-expenses-paid holiday, or certain death. This particular door could indeed potentially lead to one of said prizes, but it's hard to tell which is more likely. The only way to find out is for Jules to open the door and see what lies beyond it. Let's look for another way in. The Gumaho reaches for the handle, but from her experience here, she knows Kumanoito Palace isn't the kind of place where Occam's razor has any effect. I have no idea what that means. Instead, one should assume that the simplest answer will get you nowhere and instead end in something terrible. There has to be another way in. Jules' hand falls from the door without even attempting to open it. Fox looks around the hall, trying to find something that'll help to force her way in. Passing a row of windows, she notices that Anzu's room has a balcony. Opening the window reveals that, to the girl's strange version of fortune, there's the narrowest ledge that skirts the wall right up to the railing. Without thinking, as is the norm with Jules, she climbs out of the window and, on her tiptoes, inches her way along the wall. As if on a balance beam, her two tails stick out, keeping her stable, and she keeps her body pressed hard against the wall. There's a 2-story fall onto the stone walkway beneath her, but thankfully she doesn't look down to see it. The agile Fox makes quick work of her tight little tightrope act, relief filling her when she finally climbs over the balcony's rails. She hasn't the time to indulge in the feeling, however. The girl rushes on with her mission. Without any of the same worries she gave to the front door, Jules opens the patio door and begins her search. Now inside the room, Jules starts to look around for anything that will add extra pizzazz to her report and turn her from an expendable employee to a prized one. She checks all the usual hiding places, under the bed, in the closet, the very back of Anzu's overly organized sock drawer, and even underneath the mattress, where the woman evidently hides many other things that are not quite secret documents, and yet, nothing. The Gumaho looks around the room once more and notices something that didn't originally strike her as odd. There's the only portrait in the entire room. Hanging behind an almost transparent black veil is a painting of a handsome man. Pulling the light fabric away, there's a small dirty shrine at the bottom of the portrait. Jules knows she shouldn't touch it, and she's starting to get desperate. She lifts the shrine, revealing a scorched brown folder. Is this it? It is. A folder with more than enough information to get Anzu in a whole lot of trouble. Why would she hide this here, though? Beneath the shrine of a man Jules doesn't recognize, although she feels like she should, that is. The auditor clutches the file closely to her body, and feeling the judgmental stare of the painting, bows her head. She quickly leaves through the front door of Anzu's room with the folder. Wait, the front door? Jules looks back, suddenly realizing something. It was open all this time! It was stupid of her to not have tried to open the door first, and it was even stupider for her to let her imagination run away, believing that a simple door could lead to her death. Where such an idea came from is an absolute mystery. Jules takes the documents back to her room and hides them within her pillowcase. At first, it seems like a good idea, but when she tries to sleep, all the guilt and regret presses against her face in the form of the hard, flat folder that reeks of incense. She tosses the pillow aside and lays down on the bare mattress. With nothing left to do, the girl falls asleep, banishing away all memories of what she's done for another day. Anzu, age, occupation, governess. Explaining anything about Anzu would be a challenge in itself. There's much else she doesn't understand. Okay. Well, I'm going to call it here. This is a good spot to call it. Let's see, affection. Anzu 2.5, Kali 2, Celios 2, Gaki 1. Okay, so I got back a half heart with Celios, so that's good. That's a relief. Okay. I am going to keep playing. I don't know how this is going to continue, because if I'm going to leave the manor, I don't know how I'm going to keep having a relationship with these people. So I feel like there's going to be a way that I am not leaving the manor. We'll see. Hopefully I get more hearts with Celios. We'll see. Thank you so much for playing with me. I had fun, and I hope that you did too. Please like and subscribe. It would mean so much to me. And I will see you later.